hatuko kwa living room, we are outside in the nature and all these good things.
It's a great garden. It looks good.
With one of the pioneers of a new way of expressing yourself in comedy.
Of Nairobi's urban comedy scene. That's what I call it. I don't even a scene. Community. Because now we've become like a family, you know. Like all the comics come together.
Yeah.
We try new stuff. We recruit members. We're almost like a cult, just without like the sex offerings and rituals. But yeah.
You can spell culture without cult. So it's good, but what separates like you from the other aesthetic that we see on the mainstream world? What would you say is the difference between the comedy you guys do and the one that's pushed to the people as this is the best that exists?
It's the way we express ourselves. You know, like every city has like a cosmopolitan city like Nairobi. We have different ways of expression. There's like gengeton. There's like a guy who like do love songs and everything. So it's the same thing with comedy. There's like Churchill show, which is working and it's cool. But then there's like the urban Nairobi guy who wants to listen to stuff he can relate with. You know, people who watch The Daily Show, people who are very in tune with what's happening like in the world. So they need a comedian or comedians who can, you know, tap into that. So that's what we provide. And when you look at our audience, that's the kind of audience that comes. And we've been able to do stuff that can go international because we get people from all over, man. Like, I've gone out on drinking sprees with Russians. Russians are crazy. Maybe it was just those four guys, but man, Russians are crazy. Just because of what we talk about, they relate to that. They're like, hey, that joke you did about Italians is so true. They always like this. That's how they speak. So we were able to create that new thing.
Amazing. So like for you personally, like where do you pull from? Like where do you pull from that you are able to have this unique standpoint? Like not necessarily like your Richard Pryor's or whatever. Hata katu maisha nai, the daily hustle. Where do you
One, I'm from Eastlands, man. I've lived in Eastlands my whole life. But you know, I don't know if to say privileged. I was privileged enough to go to really good schools. I was privileged enough to go to really good schools. And I watched Cartoon Network like crazy. That's why I learned all my English. That's why I learned from cartoons like Dexter's Laboratory, Ed, Edd and Eddy. Like that's where I learned it. So my experiences were, it's like I'm from Eastlands, but I have this wild view. And people want to hear what this guy from this very closed space has to say about the world. So that's where I will draw all my inspiration, all my writing, my performance styles, and then also, since I used to rap, I am a legit MC.
Hey, that's dope. You brought rap. Like I like how, for example, when I listen to a rap album like Master Ace, Chuck D, unapata skits.
Hey, Chuck
like,
D, man,
Chris Rock saying
like that Chris Rock sketch in that Kanye West song. Who taught you? Man, that was so cool.
Flavor,
Flavor.
Chuck D will be like fight the power. And
fight the power. The big clock and the things. That never told time. But
do you have like elements of truth in your comedy that you try to that you make them laugh and then you try
reality true, you have to have that element of truth like what you're experiencing here. For instance, I have a joke where I say most white people when they come here they're interested in the animals more than us, and you can see it even in the media, like if a lion dies, it's crazy, it's all over CNN and everything, but if I die, I won't even make it to CNN. But even if I make it to CNN, it'll be like local man dies while doing a Livin Proof interview. Like it's just the way it is. So you're able to like tell people about that in a very funny way that people will laugh about. You know. And it's the same thing with you and your rap.
That's true.
Yeah, you know.
You have to have metaphors. You have to have have silly ways of
punchlines. That's something we share. Punchlines. You've got to have punchlines. You've got to have punchlines.
And now like in the Kenyan scene, what comedic who do you look look up? Not Kenyan necessarily, like,
yeah, in the world.
From American sides, UK sides, are there certain comedians?
Yeah, for sure. Even from Churchill Show. I like comedians from Churchill Show. I like MC Tricky. I like Professor Hamo. My favorite all-time Kenyan stand-up comedian for me is Ayeya. I know he passed on, which was very sad for us. We cried and everything. But I was able to go to so many shows with him, like so many shows, and I saw his process. Oh man, I think he's probably the best stand-up comedian we've ever had. Also, Juang. Mzee Juang, man, I love Mzee Juang, man. He's like our Richard Pryor in a way, you know. But internationally, it's the same guys. You know, the usual Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock. I know they're mostly black, Ricky Gervais. You know, I have influences from all over. Okay. Just with you with rap, you know, like who's your most the MC in Kenya that you look up to the most?
Look up to. Hey man, I've been asked this question. In terms of this guy is really like manifesting his shit. So if even Blinky is someone who's creative,
Blinky,
I'm
Blinky,
like,
man.
That's dope. Whatever
Mungu Alali,
whatever you're doing, whatever Calligraph is doing, I'm like, if someone is succeeding and carving their own lane, I'm like, you keep doing.
Calligraph is like a Michael Jordan rapper. It's just that willpower. It's so fucking powerful. I said fucking, is that okay?
It's okay.
It's just so fucking powerful that, it's just that it's like, you know, that do what thou wilt thing. That's Calligraph. He just embodies that, and he's able to just go out there and, you know.
Even Wakadinali and
Ska.
Saying whatever, reflecting the times. Vile inafaa. Alafu sasa, like, unapata, there's places ka state. There's comedy clubs where comedians are like, if I go here, then I go here, then I go here, I can cover where. Do you think that exists in Kenya?
That's what we're trying to do. So when we started Nairobi Comedy Club, the idea was to get a venue where it's comedy every day and people drink and chill and drink and kunywa and all that. But then Nairobi rent is very pricey, man. It's crazy. So the only way we could start is having venues that are already established, give us like a few nights. But we're heading there. We want to open up real comedy clubs because we need that to be able to, like, people, I hear people come to my shows expecting a Trevor Noah. I'm not Trevor Noah, man, you know. But for us to have a Kenyan Trevor Noah, we need structures that allow these young guys to come out and start. Trevor Noah started in a comedy club in South Africa somewhere. Someone had already started the comedy club. So you need someone to have that structure. So that's what me and my team, we're here building that. Because tonight even you'll see comics you've never seen before.
So I want to go places, but I'm not cool with America though, because I'm big and black. And in America, I'll be big and black and possibly gang affiliated. And I have a scar on my cheek, so I'd be gang affiliated and possibly a snitch. So I don't want to go to America.
Do you think Kenyans are receptive
especially young Kenyans love our stuff, man? Like sometimes I'm like, why did you guys even come? I'm gonna do the same jokes I did last week. Kenyans love this. The reception imekuwa amazing, man. And it's not just Kenyans, it's Kenyans and let me say expatriates who are here, because they're also trying to get like a local comedy scene where they can understand. The problem with let's say Churchill Show, Churchill Show is great, and man, I respect Churchill, I love Churchill, but most of my white friends who go there are like, I didn't understand half the shit that was being said there. But when they come to your show, they're like, I liked what you said about the Democrats and the liberal movement and how it's losing out to Trump and the conservatives. You know, you get to have conversations like that when after the gig. So I feel we're good. We're in good hands, man.
And are you guys planning on exploring like different formats? Like, instead of stand-up alone, like sketches,
so now
with genre,
dude, we have so many ideas now. The problem is the execution, because you know, when you want to do like the kind of skits you're thinking of, you need a crew, you need location, so you have to also be like, okay, let's plan our calendar in a way that we'll be able, one, to raise enough capital to do that, and we'll be able to improve our skills enough and our writing skills enough to do that. So this year, 2020, definitely we'll do like sketches, and just put it out there.
Like,
hey, man, I want to do a comedy album soon. I'm doing a special this year. It's called Flying Toilet. I have a reason why it's called Flying Toilet.
Give us the exclusive.
A flying toilet, it's like, so you know, growing up where I grew up, it's very claustrophobic. It's almost like what Joker was experiencing in this new movie. You're like stuck in this place, and they're like this, you don't have enough social amenities, so you have to improvise.
Yeah.
That's where the flying toilet comes in. Like, there's not enough toilets, so what am I going to do? I'm going to shit in this paper bag, and then I'm just going to throw it away. And it came from, I remember in 2001, the same day, September 11th, when America was being bombed, someone threw a flying toilet at me when I was coming from school.
Snap.
And it landed here, and it's just like, and I was like, shit, man. And then when I got home, my mom was like, don't get into the house. And she poured water in buckets at me while I was outside. And then when I got in, I'm looking at the news, I'm like, planes flying into like the World Trade Center. I'm like, today was just like a bad day. like all through America got a flying toilet on them, I got a flying toilet. So that's where the flying toilet comes from. So it captures that experience, and then the aspirations and ambitions that I have, and also everybody that's around me, to actually break out from that environment and go out there, improvise and make it. That's the whole thing.
Man. You know, I've watched this Eddie Murphy film called Dolomite.
Yeah.
It's about this guy who just used to tease
Yeah.
guys. And then
Yeah.
he started recording his album by calling people to his house.
Yeah.
Then just setting it up, selling from the back.
Yeah,
of his
selling from the
truck.
back of his
And
truck.
It's just like very vulgar stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
people are laughing.
Yeah,
at
because
it,
people
man.
identify, man.
People identify. So if you can resonate.
I feel like in the world right now, there's such a hunger for realness. That's why Trump was able to win. Because Trump was always, like, his whole narrative was like, I am anti-establishment. I am not establishment. He did it so well that even people forgot he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
People forget that he's elite. You know, he did it so well. There's a hunger for, no, we don't trust politicians. We don't trust mainstream media.
Yeah.
So who is the guy who's going to represent people who are like that? So Trump was able to fill that space.
That's true.
You know, and people are like, oh, why are you talking about Trump? And you're a Kenyan. Because if World War III starts, which might be started by him, we'll all be affected, you know, American policy.
So that's like the oldest democracy that exists. So it's like the bookmark.
It's a book. Yeah, it's a blueprint. Yeah,
So
for
like
everyone else. Yeah, yeah.
For 400 years.
Yeah, no, for a minute.
You always have to look forward and like, oh, this can happen. It can also happen.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, like, you as a rapper, because you know, as comedians, we've greatly been influenced by Black American culture.
Yeah.
But then when I grew up, I started seeing Black British culture, which I'd never seen before, and it started with that the music, the Stormzy's, Krypton Conan, and everything. So you as a rapper, is it just like Black American rappers, or like British rappers also, like?
Sometimes it's even South African jazz.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
shit.
not even rap. It's like you can hear there's pain and joy in one thing. Like me, I'm like writing didn't start from rap. It started from this poetry. My mom used to write poetry. She used to write poetry as a kid. And then tukihama kuna time alikuwa ameficha hizo books. So tukihama nikazipata and
like,
like,
oh,
you used to express yourself.
Mama,
like
you got bars.
Now she's what? So I started like, if I can write. But kitambo ilikuwa I was listening to Uko Flani. Writing about the struggle, and I was living in Nax. I was living in Dandora. Like, this is not true.
It's not you and your experience,
like, I can just express myself
the way you are and your experience.
I started doing spoken word in different places. And then now flow came.
Flow.
Beats and stuff.
That's another thing. It's funny. People don't think comedians have flow.
They do.
We have flow. There's a time.
Timing.
There's timing. There's like something you can say and be like, you know, I'm Brian Onjoro. I am a part-time stand-up comedian. Then you pause. And a full-time pervert. It always gets laughs because of the timing that you've put into it. It's the flow.
Like, good comedy is tragedy plus time.
Plus time.
Like, after 9/11, you can say a joke, but after a period of time,
you have to wait. Laugh at their pain. My favorite Kevin Hart special was Laugh at My Pain. I don't think he's ever done anything better than that. I know now he's like, big and all that, but Laugh at My Pain was, man, he was able to laugh at himself and make you laugh at yourself at the same time. That's like comedy, stand-up comedy in a nutshell.
And people, I wanted to ask you something specific. like things like rap, it's an art. There's nuances pia.
Yeah, there's nuances a lot.
Kuna hooks,
Double entendre, like metaphors, yeah.
Craft.
Yeah.
The only response is either I'm saying a check.
You're dead. Yeah.
So like how do you navigate that? Like ushayenda mali and then it's dead silence.
Bro.
And
man, I have bombed at so many places,
and
man.
How do you recover from that?
I just go home, listen to inspirational music, smoke a doobie, and then just write more and just get better. That's the only way. I was lucky enough to get out of that mainstream mindset, so I was able to do a lot of shows, So you get to experience different crowds, and you get to realize different crowds on different things. So to identify with this kind of crowd or this kind of crowd, you need a different kind of set. So it helps you actually get better. Bombing is good for comedians. Every good comedian has bombed at some point. Even rappers,
you need to bomb, man, so that you can go and toughen. You go and perfect something, your flow.
Man, you don't even sleep that night. When you bomb, you do not sleep. You go home, you're like, no.
And do you think like the culture we have these days, victim culture, does it encourage that?
So,
like for example, Kali's career blew up because of Room 16, which was a very dark room. Like,
I remember.
You do a song, everyone would hate it.
Everyone is like,
a song called Fuck Room 16. And everyone went and started hating it, but they kept sharing.
Because now, hating and then,
Do you think like creatives who are coming up, do they have that like?
I feel like the creatives who are coming after us will have a harder time than us, because now people are very sensitive, man. I did a joke one time. My aim was not to these feminists. My aim was not to like throw dirt on the feminist movement. That was not my aim. But the audience members took it like that. And after the show, I was summoned and I was lectured on how what my words have an effect on people. So nowadays as comics, we can't be all out like comics used to be back in the days. You have to consider people. You can't be narcissistic and be a comedian now. You have to be an empath. You have to like, I know this is funny to me.
But when does the personal stop being political? Like when do you go from you're standing there, you said I'm a comedian, and then the next thing you say is taken as
so now
if it's low. When does
this is what happens. I'm like, there's this thing that has been bugging me for like a whole month. Like now, I am really bugged by how divorce courts always, majority of the times, side with the women. It doesn't really matter if the women is in the wrong, because a lot of people think that the abusers in relationships are always men. No, there are men out here who are going through covert narcissistic abuse. And they don't know how to share that or how to talk about that. And when you go to court, the court will be like, no, you're the man. You're definitely the aggressor. So I am against that. But now, I'm finding it difficult to express that on stage without antagonizing a certain group,
But guys like Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle,
but
they tap into
Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle can do that because they're big. Me, I'm just a small town comic. If I do something against women, it might be true. I might be like drawing from my experiences with women, but it doesn't matter because I am small time. Dave Chappelle can say what he wants. He's done it all. He's been here for years, and everyone is on his side. Barack Obama knows him. There's really nothing you can do. Me, I can get arrested here for doing a homophobic joke. And maybe my aim was not to be homophobic, because I am not homophobic. But then, if the shoe fits, they will just, so it stifles. And I feel sorry for comedians who are coming after us, because they won't be able to have even the freedom that we have. Because it's now, there's like a policing of content.
The rapper I love who says freedom of speech is easier said than done. It's such a crazy paradox.
It's such a crazy
but
paradox.
Pia, Maze, like moving forward, what's your idea of like success? If you were to blow up the idea of success in your mind for a comic, like if you were to make a perfect utopia where you had like 30 successful
comedians in Nairobi, in Africa even. Okay, I was having a conversation with a comedian friend of mine from South Africa. They're also experiencing the same thing, and then theirs is on a higher level because the race is very big there. Here we tend to ignore race
Yeah, yeah.
because we still haven't felt it like them. And it's the same thing. Even him, there's some certain race jokes he can do. And for me, success is like, if I'm able to just earn
From your
a decent living. I don't need to be a star. I don't need to have groupies. I don't need to have any of that. If so long as I can earn a decent living just by doing stand-up and sketches and comedy every day, I am okay. I am okay. I don't need to be, you know, Quavo.
Yeah.
Or I don't need to be Kevin Hart, you know. I am okay. One of my favorite black comics is in America. He's not even known. His name is, what's the guy who does the Black Phillip show? You know him, Black Phillip. Elephant in the Room. Patrice O'Neill.
But
That's one of my favorite comics. He died. He died because he was, you know, his health, and he didn't want to stop eating the ham and the bacon. He's one of my favorite comics ever. Everything he speaks to me sounds like truth, you know. But he didn't blow up like Kevin Hart.
But he had his level of
You know,
success.
yeah, you know, like you see. So now, as a comic, you can measure your success by the level of blowing up.
Yeah.
It's the level of impact that your jokes have and how it stands the test of time, which is the same thing for rappers.
For rappers these days, we're moving into a space where people are looking for very personalized information. So not general information.
Yeah, it's like it feels like it's for you.
Yeah, like you have your own.
That's why you would listen.
Yeah, so I find like a space and I found whatever I'm looking for. So like it's good for you. Like Instagram is the perfect world for someone like a comedian.
Yeah, comedian. Yeah, you can play there. Yeah, and scroll.
So I think the future is right on your side. But
and also
in the future, like if we could
our worlds need to blend.
Make an album,
make a song, make a project together, have people at the show. I hope you're gonna do a freestyle here because people will love your shit. I have listened to your freestyles, man. Like I've seen your recordings, man. You guys, you're doing well, man. You're doing well. I never got, like my rapping days, I never got to your level. Like I'll just tell you the truth. Me, I was just you know, it's time for that. And you know, a lot of people like us, we give up because we're not getting traction and clout. It also affects you. It affects me sometimes because you'd see a guy that it's not even because of ego, but you feel like I have better stuff than this guy, but he's getting all the clout. So how do you move forward with that? You have to just be like, you know what, let me just work on my stuff and figure out my own way. I don't need to hate, because hating never gets people anywhere, you know. Because a lot of people come to my shows and they try to make me hate on Churchill show, and I'm like, no, why? Why would I hate?
I did this show at Gote sometime, and you guys were like, oh, that was amazing, but what do you think about getting to it?
Yeah, you know, they're trying to make you.
And I'm like, everything, I think even it's good, like that opens doors for what ifs. If you're a genuine listener, you're like, this Kenyan music is there might be some more.
Yeah, some more, and you get into a whole nother world now.
I don't know if you have a parting shot or what for the youth them.
Man, I don't even think I can advise any youth them. There's this speaker I listen to like every day. His name is Jordan B. Peterson. I'm sure you know Jordan B. That's why we're sitting here together. And he has this whole mentality and this whole gospel, let me call it gospel, where it's like, just do the best you can. Wake up, clean your room, stand up straight, speak, like, you know, like all those things. So that's the only advice I can give young people. Like, don't give up, man. Like, just hustle, man. Tungangane, man. It's not gonna get easier. It's not gonna get easier. It's gonna get tougher. So you need to get tougher, man. There's no time to cry and complain, man. Just get out there, man. I'm out here. You see, when I started doing shows in like spaces, I didn't even have comics. I'd perform like for 3 hours alone. And now I have comics. Now, if I hadn't started that, if I had given up and been like, you know what, fuck that, let me just go study engineering and be like my good friend Michael and be an engineer. But then I was like, no, you know, let me go out there and move and hustle and just like see what's up. Let me knock doors, let me kick down doors, you know. That's the only thing I can tell like young people, especially young people from like my hood who will watch this, I'm sure. And it's like, yeah, you can smoke weed, it's good, but you gotta have goals, you gotta have ambitions, you gotta have something you're working towards. you know. So yeah, that's all.
Filled their pockets, and this is where it has all led. To labyrinthine slums and dark back kitchens, with sickly aging people creeping round and round them like black beetles. It is a kind of duty to see and smell such places now and again, especially smell them, lest you should forget that they exist.